Hi, Dr. Ross here, and this is my Yanmar 23 horse diesel tractor. I love it, but as a first-time tractor owner, I've made some mistakes. Don't make the same mistakes I made. I'm going to save you some drama with just a few easy tips. I'll just be right back. Dr. Ross here, welcome back to the channel. So it's a 2310D and it's an 86 model. I got it from a local importer here in Portland, Oregon, and they're just wonderful. According to the importer, they've been fully refurbished, and I don't know how many hours are on this tractor originally because they turned the hour meter all the way back and evidently totally go through it. Obviously, I can tell all the hoses are new, the tires are new, everything's got a fresh coat of paint, and evidently they've been through it. So presumably you're buying an almost new tractor. You know, the experience that I've had with this has been wonderful, and any mistakes that have happened were on my part, and it being my first tractor I've ever owned, I didn't know what to do on a daily basis to be preventative. Lately it started really sputtering and losing power, especially under load, going uphill, higher RPMs, which would indicate the fuel injectors are dirty. I wanted to start with the fuel system, and so right off the bat I did a fuel filter, and what I found out was that I had let that go way too long. The fuel filter was just full of muck, and it's a water separator and fuel filter all in one with a glass bowl. And if you look at yours and there's any black residue gunk building up in the bottom, you've got to know that that is making its way through and clogging your injectors. Also, the air cleaner was pretty bad on mine. I didn't really realize the daily maintenance. So I'm going to give you a few tips on what you want to do to really take care of one of these tractors. First, the fuel filter is on the right side of the engine here, and the Napa number is 3262. And on mine, it has a plunger for the bleeding, and there's a shutoff. So this, you simply turn up to shut off the flow of fuel, and then use a channel locks to loosen this nut that holds the cup, catch all the fuel that's going to drain out, and then clean that bowl out really good and replace the filter. Make sure you get all of the filter out. Sometimes the little tin top on the filter is stuck up inside there and you've got to pick that out. And then when you get that all rebuilt and put it all back together, this is just hand tight on this O-ring. You don't want to over tighten that. So just hand tighten that good when you put it back together, and you'll have to use channel locks someday when you take it back out. Leave it loose though at first and turn the fuel back on, and it'll bubble out, and watch the fuel fill all the way up in the bowl. Once the fuel is full in the bowl, then you tighten this down hand tight, as tight as you can, just with your hand. And then there's sometimes a couple of bleeder screws you do left and then right, or on mine it's got the plunger, you just push in on it and it'll drain a little bit of fuel coming right out this little hose here into my drain pan. And you want to bleed the air out of that system before you go any further up the line. Here's my fuel injection pump right here, and the fuel rails come right out the top. And I've got a little plunger here that I push in and bleed the air out of that line until this runs clear fluid without air bubbles. It should have a little drain hose on it going down to the drain, but I like to be able to see the bubbles right there on the top, so I'll get a clear piece of tubing that will go down into my drain pan. I've really come to love it. I've got a brush hog for it, I've got a box blade, I've got a front end loader on it, and there's a few things that I should have known to be doing on the daily. One of the things you want to do every day is check this screen that's behind the radiator. And this thing is protecting your radiator from getting clogged up. And there is a ton of debris that goes through here. When you're pushing brush like I am, Also, you want to pull your air filter out and blow it out with compressed air every now and then. These are kind of expensive air filters, and you obviously want to replace it every 200 hours or so. But you can certainly get the air compressor and blow it out. Also, you want to check the oil, which on this tractor is way down here. We found the oil dipstick and the hydraulic oil for the main power and the drive. And then the front diff has its own dipstick. So this one is for the front differential. Don't forget that one. Additionally, you want to look at your fuel filter and make sure it's not all full of gunk like what happened to me. I failed to keep an eye on that. And while you're at it, daily making your walk around, just look for loose bolts. I'm really surprised how much stuff rattles loose on this. And I guess I shouldn't be, being an old Harley mechanic. You know, it makes sense that stuff is going to rattle loose. I had no idea. I found out that my battery was completely loose from where it was. And if I had been checking this screen every day in front of the radiator, I would have seen that. I've lost bolts out of the seat. I've lost bolts out of the front end loader, the exhaust, and the steering box felt loose. Turned out it had just came loose from its mounting. The mounting bolts were coming loose. And also the straps that hold down the fuel cell had come loose at one point. Both of those you access by pulling this dash out and these two access panels down here. Now, if you're going to pull your dash out, do make sure and unhook the battery, because there's some live wires back there you could arc out. But it comes out pretty easy, 4 screws, and you can pull it away and get a good look down in there. It's got the Yanmar 3-cylinder diesel engine, 3T84H. And I looked and looked on YouTube, and I couldn't really find anybody that had any kind of tutorial on this particular motor. I did find a few things on 3-cylinder Kubota, which were useful, and I did find some marine stuff. You find a lot of Yanmar engines in the marine industry. But these older tractors, there's really a lack of any information out there. So I decided to go ahead. We're going to get these injectors out and teach ourselves how to clean them and see if we can find anything wrong. And we'll do it together, and maybe we'll all learn something together. And I want to just say, if you know anything about these motors, torque specs, or how to get new parts or clean the injectors, then please drop us a comment so that we can all share in the knowledge. I did find where I could order a service shop manual. There's no PDF available online. They just want you to buy it. So I'm going to order that. But meanwhile, I'm still losing power at higher RPMs under a load. So we're going to have to take these injectors. Wait, hold on a minute, Ross. If we do that, this video is going to be way too long. Hey, it's Dr. Ross from the future here. I'm going to make a whole separate video on doing these fuel injectors. We did it, and it works great. If you like this video and all my tips, please hit that like button for me and share this, and we'll see you back here in the next video. Dr. Ross here. This is my Yanmar tractor.